My Weirdest School, Book Number 2, Ms. Cuddy is Nutty, written by Dan Gutman, pictures by Jim Pelot. Chapter 10, Sniffing Out Stories. Well, Ms. Cuddy was wrong, because once again our ratings went down and Dirk's went up. They did a version of my favorite show, Win Money or Eat Bugs. The Dirk teachers had to answer trivia questions. When they got them right, they won money. When they got them wrong, they had to eat bugs. Even I wanted to see that. "No!" Miss Cuddy shouted. "Not again! We will beat those Dirk dorks. You just wait and see. I'll make them wish they never tangled with me." Miss Cuddy was fuming. She paced back and forth, mumbling to herself. Then she snapped her fingers. "I've got it," she said. "You've got what?" we all asked. "I'll tell you tomorrow morning," she said mysteriously. When we got to the studio the next morning, Miss Cuddy was waiting outside, but the door was locked. "Aren't we going to do the announcements today?" Andrea asked. "We need to change our format," she replied. "We need to get out of the studio and into the streets. That's where the people are. Come on, let's go." Miss Cuddy had a portable TV camera. She led us across the street. "Where are we going?" Neil asked. "We're going to follow our noses and sniff out stories," she replied. "We're going to do investigative reporting." There was just one problem. The streets were empty. All the kids had been dropped off at school. All the parents had left for work or gone home. There was nobody around. "There are no stories out here," Michael said. "You just aren't looking hard enough," said Miss Cuddy. "See, this car is parked too close to a fire hydrant. That's illegal. I'm calling the police." "It's like an inch too close," said Alexia. "Yeah, what's the big deal?" asked Ryan. Miss Cuddy ignored us. She pulled out her cell phone and punched in a number. "Hello, police department," she said. "We have a crime in progress across the street from elementary school. Send some cops over right away, and a tow truck too. Hurry!" A few seconds later, we heard a siren. Miss Cuddy handed the camera to Michael and told me to stand in front of the car. "Okay, AJ," she said. "Action." My name is AJ," I said, looking into the camera. "I'm standing here across the street from elementary school, where there appears to be a crime in progress." At that moment, a tow truck and 2 police cars screeched to a halt next to us. Some cops got out and rushed over. Michael filmed the whole thing. "What's the problem?" one of the cops said. "This car is parked illegally," I told him. He looked at the car. "It's a few inches too close to the hydrant," he said. "You dragged us over here for that?" The cops looked like they were going to leave. "People can't just park wherever they want," shouted Miss Cuddy. Don't we have laws in this country? Who are you? A cop asked Miss Cuddy. I'm a concerned citizen, she said. My taxes pay your salary. Criminals need to learn their lesson. Do your job. You've got to tow that car away. The cop rolled his eyes. Okay, boys, he said. Tow it. The tow truck driver attached some chains to the car and started towing it down the street. At that moment, Mr. Klutz came out of the school. What's going on? He asked. Why aren't you using the TV studio we paid $1 million for? We decided to hit the streets and do some investigative reporting, Miss Cuddy said. Yeah, I told Mr. Klutz. A car was parked here illegally, so we had the police tow it away. Mr. Klutz turned around and looked down the street. Then he looked at the empty spot where the car had been. Wait a minute, he said. That was my car you towed away. Your car? We all shouted. Oops, said Miss Cuddy. Is this some kind of a joke? Asked Mr. Klutz. Of course not. A joke would be like, a library is the tallest building in the world because it has the most stories. Mr. Klutz totally doesn't know what a joke is. He went running down the street, chasing the tow truck. It was hilarious. Chapter 11. Breaking News. Well, I guess our investigative report didn't attract many eyeballs. Dirk's school beat us again. They put on a reality show called Killer Karaoke. Kids had to sing songs while their classmates dropped water balloons on their heads. I wish I had come up with that idea. Miss Cuddy looked more depressed than ever. She just sat there with her head in her hands. I give up, she said. I'm out of ideas. No matter what we do, those Dirk dorks beat us. I quit. What? We all shouted. You can't quit, Miss Cuddy, said Ryan. Remember what you told us? Said Andrea. If at first you don't succeed, try again. I tried again, moaned Miss Cuddy. And again. It's no use. We just can't beat those monsters. That's when I got the greatest idea in the history of the world. I asked Miss Cuddy to give us 1 day before quitting. After school, I held a secret meeting with the gang. I told them my idea. The next morning, we were ready to put it into action. Action! Yelled Alexia. My name is AJ and I hate school, I said into the mic. My name is Andrea and I love school. Now, for the morning announcements. The weather today is... A big banner flashed on the screen. Breaking news. I'm sorry, Andrea, I said, but I have to interrupt the morning announcements. We have important news. Monsters have been spotted at elementary school. What? Andrea yelled. At that moment, the weirdest thing in the history of the world happened. A zombie ran past the camera. Well, it looked like a zombie. It was actually Neil the nude kid, dressed like a zombie. Emily had done a great job on his makeup. What was that? Andrea shouted. It looked like a zombie to me, I said. Mr. Klutz came running into the studio. Was that a zombie? He shouted. It looked like a zombie, said Miss Cuddy. Mr. Klutz ran in front of the camera. Lock the doors, he shouted. Nobody gets in or out of the building. Call the police. There's a zombie in our school. Then he ran out of the room. We repeat, Andrea said. A zombie has been spotted inside elementary school. Please remain calm. As soon as we have more information. At that moment, something even weirder happened. A vampire ran past the camera. Well, it looked like a vampire. It was actually Ryan dressed like a vampire. He was growling. What was that? I shouted. It looked like a vampire, said Andrea. Zombies and vampires have invaded our school, I shouted. Don't panic. Let's go get the story, you guys, Alexia shouted. Andrea and I grabbed our mix. Michael grabbed Miss Cuddy's portable camera. We dashed into the hallway. Kids were spilling out of the classrooms. Help! Some kid yelled. It's a monster attack. The zombies and vampires are taking over, yelled somebody else. I'm too young to die. This is great, said Miss Cuddy. Are you getting all this on video, Michael? Run for your lives, somebody screamed. In seconds, the hallway was jammed with teachers and students, running around, yelling and screaming and shrieking and hooting and hollering and freaking out. We are reporting the monster attack live, I shouted into the mic. We will stay on the air until this crisis is over. Andrea stuck her microphone in some girl's face and asked her if she had seen any monsters. No, the girl replied, but I heard a rumor that they're mutant alien zombies from outer space. I heard the zombies kidnapped Mr. Klutz, some other kid said. I spotted Officer Spence, our school security guard. Have you seen any zombies or vampires? I asked him. Not yet, he replied, but we can't let those monsters take over the school. We'll track them down. You're the real hero, Officer Spence, I told him. Just doing my job, AJ. Everybody was going crazy in the hallways. Somebody screamed. Andrea and I ran around the corner. There was a zombie on the floor, groaning and rolling. Well, it looked like a zombie. It was actually Neil again. Here's one of the zombies now, Andrea said. We're going to get an exclusive interview. I stuck my mic in Neil's face. You've been turned into a flesh-eating zombie, I said. How do you feel? Great, Neil replied. When did you first realize you were a zombie? On Tuesday, Neil said. What are you going to do next? Eat the humans, Neil said. Good luck with that, Andrea told him. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us. I heard a loud bang outside. I looked out the window. A helicopter had landed on the front lawn of the school. A bunch of guys jumped out wearing body armor, gas masks, and other cool stuff. Come out with your hands up, monsters, one of them shouted through a bullhorn. "The army is here!" Andrea yelled into her mic. Miss Cuddy opened the front door so the army guys could come in. "Where are the monsters?" one of them shouted. "They went that way," I told them. "Follow me, man." The army guys ran all over the school looking for monsters, but they never found any because Neil and Ryan took off their costumes. After a while, the army guys got back in the helicopter and left. "It appears as though the monster attack is over," Andrea said. "You may return to your classrooms now. Have a great day, elementary students." And cut! Shouted Alexia. "That was awesome," said Miss Cuddy. When the monster attack was over, Mr. Klutz went from class to class to make sure everyone was okay. When he got to our TV studio, we asked him how many people had watched our station and how many people had watched the Dirk station. "Nobody watched the Dirk station," he told us. "Everybody in town was watching us." "Yes," Miss Cuddy shouted. "Victory is ours! We're number one! We're number one!" She started dancing all over the room, laughing and yelling and screaming and shrieking and hooting and hollering and generally freaking out. "Man," Alexia said, "Miss Cuddy is going overboard. Why is everybody always talking about boats?" "Well, that's pretty much what happened. Maybe the army will find out that the monsters were just kids dressed up like monsters. Maybe Mr. Cooper will stop throwing apples at doctors. Maybe we'll buy 1,000 refrigerators and put them in the playground. Maybe they'll get a life on Mars. Maybe everybody will stop thinking in boxes and talking about boats all the time. Maybe we'll rent some eyeballs. Maybe basketball players will stop dribbling all over the floor. Maybe Miss Cuddy will go to a doctor and get her ears checked. Maybe Andrea will stop singing songs from Annie all the time. Maybe those jerky Dirk dorks will stop eating bugs and throwing water balloons at each other. Maybe Ryan will stop taking baths in his kitchen sink. Maybe we can talk Elementary into giving us another $1 million. But it won't be easy.